The N-word story. The N-word. You know, I have a whole chapter in my book, Speechless, Controlling Words, Controlling Minds. Wow, that was fast. I hadn't mentioned it in a while, so I didn't know if you were going to have the bell on cue. That was good. That's very impressive, guys. I have a whole chapter in my book about the N-word, which I point out in the book is spoken of with the same taboo and awe and reverence as the unpronounceable name of God was by the ancient Israelites. But there is legitimately a taboo in the country. It's really the one word that you're not allowed to say. And this woman called a 5-year-old kid that. Now,
there's
the 5-year-old kid.
There's no proof he's 5. There's no proof. A lot of people say he's 5, but there's no real proof he's 5. He does look like he's older than 5. He really does, to keep it all the way a buck. To be frank, he does look older a little bit, but he's still a kid. He's still a child at the end of the day. So what she did was immature, puerile, childish, and goofy, bro. It is what it is.
A taboo in the country. It's really the one word.
Not saying she doesn't have the right to say the N-word, which is a pejorative or a slur. Pejoratives are permissible in this country. This is a free country. You can say pejoratives, hateful words. It isn't a crime to say pejoratives, but it is odious. It is objectionable to say these derogatory, vituperative words to kids of who are melanated. It is wrong to say this to a kid who is melanated. It is wrong to. It is trash to say this to a kid. Period. It is trash. It is corny. It is garbage. It is to be hated. It is to be abhorred. It is to be reviled.
Reference as the unpronounceable name.
It isn't a criminal offense to say a slur. Slurs are protected under the First Amendment. So you can't lock a person up for saying a hateful word or a slur. You don't have to agree with it or like it or be friends with people who say slurs, but you have to respect, you have to be fair, you have to be logical, bro. People have the right to say hateful words. Yeah. You don't have to be fond of it, but you can't lock somebody up. It is, the people who say she should be locked up, the black people, the black cultists, the true cultists in the black race, who say Shiloh, the white lady, the Caucasian lady who said the N-words, should be locked up, are tripping all the way. Yeah, they have these people, because these people hold so much hatred for Caucasian people that they throw logic away. It is really sad. It is really abominable and hateable.
Which I point out in the book is spoken of with the same taboo and awe and reverence as the unpronounceable name of God was by the ancient Israelites.
This lady
but
did
there is
not
legitimately a taboo in the
physically
country. It's really
attack
that you're not
the
allowed
black
to say.
kids.
And
she did verbally attack the kid. She did verbally attack the kids, but she did not physically attack. There was no visual proof of her physically attacking this kid. So people have to chill. Words.
As the unpronounceable name of God was by the ancient Israelites. But there is legitimately a taboo in the country. It's really the one word that you're not allowed to say. And this woman called a 5-year-old kid that. Now, the 5-year-old kid allegedly was rifling through the woman's bag and stole something from the woman.
Glad he said allegedly. You know, a lot of people are just running with this claim, this statement that you know, many people are running with the statement that the kids stole from her, one of her kids, stole from her diaper bag for one of her 2 kids. Yeah. They blindly believe what Shiloh said. They obsequiously believe it. They credulously believe it with no, with no seeking of the truth, with no logic, just unquestioningly accept her claim with no proof, no visual proof of him stealing from the bag, bro. There's no proof, so yeah, people can't say confidently he stole, but many people, they are running with it, bro, to fit a narrative, bro. It is crazy. It is really whack, yeah, bro. Certain Caucasian people, they are running with this credulously with no logic. They just repeat this, they just parrot an unfounded and groundless claim to fit their BS narrative. It is craziness, yo. There's no proof he stole. She says he stole. She repeatedly says he stole, but there's no proof. Just because you say that something befell you, that doesn't mean it is true automatically. Just because you say something befell you, that doesn't mean it is automatically true. People are tripping, bro. Who knows? She could be lying, bro, to get sympathy, to get pity, bro. And many people lie, bro. Many people of all races lie to benefit, to gain something, to gain sympathy, money. Yeah, it is crazy, yo. Yeah, she said she received death threats, doxing, her gym got leaked. Her SSN got leaked, different things, bro. Even though Shiloh is a bozo for saying the N-word, the people, if she did get threatened and doxed, the people who engaged in these acts are disgraceful too. They are scummy too. They are evil too. It is what it is. We have to be fair all the way. We have to be fair across the board. If they threatened her and her family, bro, they are disgraceful too. They are unlaudable too. It is what it is, man. It is what it is, yo. It is what it is, man. Disgraceful. Disreputable. Immoral. Evil. Wicked. Trash. Rubbish. Horrible. Yeah. Yeah. She said she might have to relocate. She said she thinks she has to relocate. She said she has to relocate. She said her kids might not be able to go back to school, bro. She said she did say her kids, one of her kids might not be able to go back to school. It is, yeah. If that is true, it is crazy, bro. Bro. People do too much, bro. Yeah, saying the N words to a kid is odious. It is trash, yes. But doxing is worse. Threatening to hurt or worse to somebody is worse. Leaking people's socials, gyms they go to, leaking those things is worse. It is what it is, yo. You ain't virtuous for threatening a person who says the N words, or for threatening a person who says the N words. You ain't virtuous for doxing. You ain't virtuous. You ain't more you are not more virtuous for doxing somebody for saying the N words. You are not more virtuous for threatening a person for saying the N words. You are just as goofy, if not worse. You really are just as goofy or worse, or goofier than the person who says a slur. You are just as goofy or goofier than the person who says a slur. You are just as goofy or goofier than the person who says the N words.
Oh, the 5-year-old kid allegedly was rifling through the woman's bag and stole something from the woman's 18-month-old. And then the story gets even weirder because a Somali guy starts filming her.
Forgot to say this. After she received threats, she started she made a Give Send Go account. She made that her initial goal was 50K, certain people said. Then it went up to a number above 100,000. Then it went up to 1 million. The new goal, the current goal is 1 million. She's raised over 660K, bro. Crazy. Yeah, she's raised over 660K after allegedly receiving after receiving threats and doxing allegedly. Certain people donated. Certain white people donated to her because she got doxed or and threatened allegedly, which is sensible and logical. If you donate to somebody if your reason for donating to a person is because the person got doxed and threatened, you make sense. But there are Caucasian people who donated only because she's Caucasian. They don't make sense. They are They are goofies. Yeah, they suck, bro. The- They they do this race worship, idolatry ish. It is goofiness, bro. It is evilness. It is terrible, bro. They put Caucasian people on a pedestal. They are just as crappy as and just as fecal as the blacks who donated to Carmelo only because he is black. Just equally fecal people. The Caucasian people who donated only because she is white are just as fecal as the blacks who donated to Carmelo Anthony because he is black. Equal fecalness, bro. It is what it is. They people those race worshippers from both races, they disgust me. They sicken me. They really do sicken me. They disgust me. They suck. They are trash. You know, some of the Caucasian people who donated, the names they gave themselves, they put above their donation amounts are disgusting, bro. Nate Higgers, delete all ends, all white, they said, one person said, all white people are holy. Crazy stuff, bro. Crazy. Those people are just, they are just as evil as the blacks who said under who put in their name the Caucasian people who said Nate Higgers and all white people are holy are just as garbage as the blacks who said death to whites. It is equal fecalness, bro. It is equal terribleness. It is equal horribleness. It is equal trash. Equal rubbishness. Equal abhorrenceness, bro. It is equal suckiness, equal crudiness, equal muckiness. It is detestable, despicable, condemnable. All these words. Yeah. The Caucasians who said hang black people are just as cruddy as the blacks who said delete all white people. The Caucasian people who said hang black people are just as cruddy as the blacks who donated to Carmelo, who said delete all white people, bro.
Month-old, and then the story gets even weirder because a Somali guy starts filming her and says, "Did you just call that kid the N-word?" But the Somali guy was reportedly charged with raping a 16-year-old girl
Allegedly.
in 2023. So you have
if he did commit this offense, he is a scummy, unlaudable, disreputable human, bro. If he did commit this offense, he is a scum, a scumbag. If he did commit this offense, he is a scumbag. He is a devil. He is a blight. He is a scourge. He is a demon. If he did do this, if he really did do this, he is unlaudable and disgraceful, bro. He really is. If this is true.
It says, did you just call that kid the N-word? But the Somali guy
Weirdo.
was reportedly charged with
This is
raping
the
a
case.
16-year-old girl in 2023. So you have an alleged child rapist filming this woman trying to harass and dox her for calling a 5-year-old
Goofy.
really nasty racial slur, and
Deprecatory label.
then the internet raised $5 million for her. So what's this all about? I will tell you what this is not about.
N-words.
The
Be
nasty
hard
racial
to R.
slur, and then the internet raised $500,000 for her. So what?
Over
A 16-year-old girl
660K
in
now.
2023. So you have an alleged
Or
child
last
rapist
the
filming
last
this woman.
time I checked, it was a little bit over 660K. It might be higher now. It might be 700K or more, bro. Who knows?
A 16-year-old girl in 2023. So you have an alleged child rapist filming this woman trying to harass and dox her for calling a 5-year-old really nasty racial slur, and then the internet raised $500,000 for her. So what's this all about? I will tell you what this is not about. This incident, or the fundraising for this incident, has absolutely nothing to do with a woman calling a child the N-word. That's the one thing that is completely certain about this story. There is not one person who is defending calling a 5-year-old child a nasty
No
racial
logical
slur.
person.
It has nothing to do with that. This
Of each race. No person with empathy. No person with a soul. No person with a brain. No person with morality, integrity, laudability, honorability is saying this is condonable. This is excusable. No logical person, bro. No empathetic person.
there is not one person
Only
who is
goofballs
defending
condone
calling
this.
a 5-year-old child
Only
a nasty racial
goofballs
slur. It
condone
has nothing
this.
to do with that. This whole incident
Only
is about two
goofies
things.
excuse
It's about immigration.
this misbehavior.
A nasty racial slur.
Or
It
not,
has nothing to do with
or meant
This
to
whole-
say only goofies excuse this verbal abuse. Only
incident
goofies.
is about two things.
Only goofies, bro.
It's about immigration, and it's about a nasty racial slur. It has nothing to do with that. This
Words.
There is not one person who is defending calling a 5-year-old child a nasty racial slur. It has nothing to do with that. This whole incident is about calling a child the N-word. That's the one thing that is completely certain about this story. There is not one person who is defending calling a 5-year-old child a nasty racial slur. It has nothing to do with that.
Certain people are defending it, though. Certain Caucasian people are defending it on some race worship-ish, bro. It is goofy. It is woke. It is corny. It is cringy. Woke is not limited to just one race or one party or one group. Anybody who does race worship is woke. This bloke here, this bloke, Devo, stands on that. This bloke, Devo, does stand on that. If you do race worship, regardless of your racial membership, you are woke. Period.
There is not one person who is defending calling
If you
a
simp
5-year-old
for
child
a person
nasty
just
racial slur.
because
It has nothing to do with that.
the person
This
shares
whole incident is about two
shares your race, if you simp for a person, if you simp for a person because he or she shares your race, you are woke.
A nasty
It
racial
is what
slur.
it is.
It has nothing to do with that. This whole incident is about two things. It's about immigration, and it's about Austin Metcalf. And maybe I should flip that order. I think primarily it's about Austin Metcalf. There is not
If
one
you
person
make excuses
who is
for goofy-ish because the person is in your race, you are indubitably woke. If you make excuses for somebody who is doing truly goofy-ish, you are indubitably woke. If you make excuses for a person who does truly goofy-ish, you are indubitably woke. If you make excuses for a person who does truly goofy-ish, you are indubitably woke.
calling a 5-year-old child a nasty racial slur.
Words.
There is not one person who is defending
Crazy,
calling
crazy,
a
ish,
5-year-old
crazy.
child a nasty racial
Crazy,
slur.
crazy,
It has
ish,
nothing to do with
crazy.
that.
Uncle
This whole
Murda.
incident is about two things. It's about immigration, and it's about Austin Metcalf. And maybe I should flip that order. I think primarily it's about Austin Metcalf. Because Austin Metcalf's alleged killer. So you remember Austin Metcalf, his teenager who was a football star, who was looking forward to great big things in his future, and then a black student allegedly stabbed him in the
With a
chest
knife.
and murdered him on the spot because Austin Metcalf asked the boy to get out of his seat. And then the black kid who was charged with murdering the white kid raised $500,000 for murdering the white kid. This is a reaction to that. That's what this is about.
Not everybody, to be fair, not everybody donated for murdering a white person. Nah, to be fair, certain people, yes, certain black people, the black cultists, the black racists, yes. But logical black people, they were donating for his legal defense. Period. Only for his legal defense. The logical black people who donated.
Raised $500,000 for murdering the white kid. This is a reaction to that. That's what this is about. That's almost entirely what this is about.
Yeah.
It is also. That's what this is about.
Many Caucasian
That's
people
almost
are
entirely
angry
what
with
it's about. It is
the
also
bias.
About, to a lesser degree,
A lot of black people have to their own race. The excusing of truly terrible acts done by people in their own race. The softness, the infantilization, bro, the coddling, the afraidness to be real, the afraidness to be all the way honest when black people do crazy-ish, bro. Many Caucasian people are fed up. So, but there's no excuse for saying the N-words to a kid, bro. There's no excuse for this, bro. The people who excuse this are goofy, bro. Goofy. Yeah. Real rap, I believe she did not just say this words all of a sudden, bro. I believe to keep it a buck, I believe her racial animosity was hidden, bro. It was under the surface, bro. The racial animosity. She's been harboring this racial animosity for a while. Then the racial animosity went up to the surface in this particular incident, bro. This alleged theft, this alleged stealing, the racial animus went up to the surface. It's bubbled up to the surface when the alleged theft took place. Yeah, she used that as an excuse. Crazy, 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 bro. Yeah. Certain people say she's not racist, but they don't even know this lady for real, bro. To confidently say she has no racist, to confidently say she has no racist bone in her body is credulous.
That's what this is about. That's almost entirely what it's about. It is also about, to a lesser degree, immigration. This is a Minnesota woman.
And people don't just say slurs all of a sudden, bro. If you yeah, she's understandably angry, yes. But there's no justification for saying the N-word to a kid, bro. It is crazy, bro. Like you jump to that. That is the first thing you do when you are angry. Say a slur to a kid. Yeah, nah, bro. The animosity was hidden, bro. It's just her true colors were revealed, bro. They were shown, bro. They were visible. They were seen, bro. Her real self, bro. Her true colors came out, bro. Her true colors came out. Her true colors came out. Her true colors came out. It is crazy.
That's almost entirely what it's about.
Heroes don't jump to slurs, bro. Certain people say she's a hero. Nah,
this
bro.
Is a Minnesota
Heroes
woman
don't.
Who's being
They
filmed
don't
by a Somali
jump to
alleged
slurs,
child
bro.
rapist.
They just don't. People are drunk if they believe heroes jump to slurs. They must be inebriated, bent, rounded.
About, to a lesser degree, immigration. This is a Minnesota woman who's being filmed by a Somali alleged child rapist. The way to get out of sea. And then the black kid who was charged with murdering the white kid raised $500,000 for murdering the white kid. This is a reaction to that. That's what this is about.
Certain people want a race war, but
it is also about, to a lesser degree, immigration.
Yeah, if a race war happens, society will collapse, bro. You don't, people have to chill, bro. People from both groups have to chill, bro, with this race bait, with the saying that all people from the other race are terrible. This BS must cease, bro. Hate begets hate. Hate breeds more hate. So, people must chill, bro. Certain people won't, but they should. They must chill with this race bait, this sowing of seeds of division, bro. It doesn't help anybody, any race. So people have to self-reflect and change their mentality. Stop prejudging. Stop lumping all people, the whole race that is different from your race. Stop, meant to say, stop lumping every person from a race different from yours in the same box just because of what certain people do. Stop lumping all people from one race different from yours in the same box just because of what certain people do. Think logically. Get to know people. Know before you judge. Know the full story. Know the truth before you judge. Thinks humanity would grow if everybody refrains from making preconceptions. If everybody refrains from making preconceptions, humanity would grow. If everybody refrains from making preconceptions, humanity would grow, bro. Yeah. But everybody won't. It is sad. Everybody won't. Everybody won't cease. It is sad. But we should minimize the racial hatred for sure. Minimize the racial hatred in this world for sure. Minimize the racial hatred for sure. Humanity would still grow. Facts. You got certain Caucasian YouTubers, bro. They caught the Somali dudes inbred. They don't even know he's an inbred, but they said this Muslim inbred. Just because they said this Somali Muslim inbred. Just because he's Somali and Muslim, that doesn't mean he's inbred, bro. This dude, bro, the dude who said this BS, he's racist, bro. Not, he's truly racist for saying this with no basis, no evidence. He's inbred just on some hateful ish, bro. He is racist. To prejudge another person based on race is racist. Because he's a melanated Somali person, bro. He must be inbred in the eyes of this YouTuber, bro. It is really shameful, disgraceful-ish. Anybody who prejudges based on race is a cancer, bro. A preclusion, a hindrance, a blight, a scourge, a true scourge, bro. A true villain.
Raised $500,000 for murdering the white kid. This is a reaction to that. That's what this is about. That's almost entirely what it's about. It is also about.
If the Somali did rape the underage chick, if he did rape the underage chick, he is a bozo. We can agree. But to say he's inbred is crazy, bro. To make the negative assumption he is inbred with no proof or basis is crazy, yo. Crazy.
That's what this is about. That's almost
Despicable.
entirely what it's about. It is also about, to a lesser degree, immigration. This is a Minnesota woman who is being filmed by a Somali alleged child rapist. And there has been a mass migration of Somalis who do not exactly assimilate, generally, into lily white, Midwestern Minnesota. And that has created racial and cultural tension. If a bunch of Minnesotans moved to Somalia, guess what? There'd be racial and cultural tension there too. That is an inevitable fact of the world and the diversity of peoples and migration and polities. It's just how it works. And so it exploded in this viral, wild incident of a woman calling a 5-year-old the N-word, which no one would ever justify. But given
No person
the
with
broader
empathy,
racial and cultural
no
circumstances
person with
around
a
it, the
soul
internet
would justify this verbal abuse, yes.
5-year-old the N-word, which no one would
But
ever justify.
bozos would.
But given the broader racial and cultural circumstances around it, the internet gave her $500,000. If a black kid can raise $500,000 or more for murdering a white kid, says the internet, then this white lady can raise $500,000 for calling a 5-year-old kid a nasty word. That's the argument. And this is the inevitable consequence of the liberals demanding racial conscious politics. That's really what it is.
Not all libs, but the wokes, the wokies, the radicals, the extremists on the left, yes.
It's about. This is the inevitable consequence of the liberals demanding
The
racial conscious
insufferable,
politics.
the
That's really what it's about.
insufferable
If BLM
leftists.
BLM led by. This is the inevitable consequence of the liberals demanding racial conscious
The
politics.
intolerant
That's really what it's about.
leftists.
If BLM led by Marxists,
Yeah.
says we are going to have an explicitly racially conscious politics. BLM wasn't the first group to suggest this on the left. That's been true for many decades now. BLM really perfected it. BLM became the apotheosis of leftist racial politics. BLM says it's all about race. Black people good, white people
Race
bad.
worship.
Give black people everything. White people deserve nothing. We need to abolish whiteness.
Crazy.
Well, okay. If that's the argument, then there is going to be a white racial consciousness too, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
There's a Pew Research
Which
study that came out.
It's not good, but people have to empathize with the white people who go to the extreme in response to the craziness from certain black people, bro. You have to empathize with the Caucasians who went to the extreme in response to the radical-ish from certain blacks.